Let's take a look at this sentence and try to identify the part of speech of each of the words in the sentence. This outstanding book represents the most important work on giraffes in recent history. This is the kind of sentence you might find as the opening line or the second line in a book review, for example. This sentence has many words, but the basic organization of the sentence is not that difficult. And as always, we start with identifying the verb. So in this sentence right now, can you find the verb? And the verb here is the word represents. And one of the clues that it is the verb is that it has an S on it, right? Which tells us the he, she, it, third person singular. And then if this is the verb, then we ask ourselves, who or what represents the most important work on giraffes in recent history? And if you can answer that question in one word, that one word is going to be the subject of the sentence. And of course, a subject is always a noun, and anything a noun can do, a pronoun can do, a noun or a pronoun. So here we have the word book. What part of speech is the word book? Well, book is going to be a noun. And it is the subject of the sentence. So this sentence really is book represents something, right? So in front of the word book, we have two words. What part of speech typically goes in front of a noun? Well, that would be an adjective. And here we have two words, this outstanding book. And you could say this book, and you could say outstanding book. So these are two independent words. What part of speech is the word outstanding? Now, I know it has an ing, and you might be tempted to say it's some kind of verb. And yes, it probably came from the verb to stand out. But outstanding in this case, the word that's right in front of a noun is going to be an adjective. So that's an adjective. And then in front of the word outstanding, we have the word this. And the word this is also an adjective. And so there are 4 demonstrative adjectives, and those are this, that, these, those. So now we have adjective, adjective, noun, verb. And so this outstanding book, that's my whole subject, my complete subject, represents what? Represents the most important work on giraffes in recent history. And as you can see already, what I am not doing is trying to go left to right. We didn't start with the word this. It's almost impossible to tell the part of speech of a word, in other words, its function, until we see the words that are around it. So rather than starting with the first word, let's find the words that are the key words here, usually the subject and the verb, and work forward and backward from that. So in this next group of words, the most important work on giraffes in recent history, if you had to divide that into 3 pieces, what would your pieces be? One way to divide it would be to say that the most important work is one chunk, and then on giraffes is one chunk, and in recent history is one chunk. Nouns are usually pretty easy to follow, to be able to identify. So let's try to find the nouns here. And I will tell you that in these next words, there are 3 nouns. What are our 3 nouns? Well, we have the word work, that's going to be a noun. And we have the word giraffes, that's going to be a noun. And we have the word history, that's going to be a noun. And within these 3 chunks, since we have a noun and we have some words in front of the nouns, well, what kind of words usually go in front of a noun? Well, we have the word important, that describes, that's going to be an adjective. And then we have the word most. Now you can say important work, but you can't say most work in this sense here. And the word most here is not describing or talking about work. It's talking about the word important. It's telling you how important it is. Is it just a little important, or very important, or extremely important, or more important, or the most important? And in this case, the word most is actually modifying or describing the word important here, and that's going to make it an adverb. And here we have the word the. The, as you know, is an article. We don't have a part of speech called articles in our system of 8, so articles are put under adjectives. Again, if we had a category called articles, we would certainly label it articles, but when we talk about 8 parts of speech, there usually is not a category called articles. Now let's go to our next chunk. We have on giraffes. So that's one part, if you will, one chunk. And then on is going to be a preposition. And then we have in recent history. So the word recent is describing the word history, and that's going to make it an adjective. And then we have the word in, and that one you should know is going to be a preposition. And that's what you have for this sentence. Those are the labels, those are the parts of speech for every word in that sentence.